Hello everyone, this is Jyoti again from Celebrate Your Flaws. This is my second video on this channel and the first one where I show my face. And as you can see from the title, this is going to be a rant. A rant about the latest movie, Manikarnika. I would like to clear a few things at the very outset. The first is that, like I said, this is going to be a rant. So definitely I'm going to talk about the negative things rather than the positive ones. That does not mean that these are problems that I have with this movie in particular. There are actually quite a few of these problems which I have with all historical based Hindi movies in general. So that is what I'm going to talk about. The second thing is that I'm not a historian, and to be honest, I'm not at all interested in history. So I'm not making any attempt to analyze the historical accuracy of this movie. What I am doing though is explaining to you how certain aspects of this movie make the entire movie going experience a terrible one for the regular layman going for a movie. The third thing is, like the title says, this is going to be a spoiler filled rant, not a review. I have watched 4 other reviews though, so I might refer to them from point to point. Having said that, is this movie worth watching? Absolutely. Especially to show you what a brave woman looks like. I was so irked by critics praising Deepika Padukone for how pretty and beautiful and brave she looked in Padmavat. All she did was stare at the screen unblinkingly forever. And that, to be honest, in my opinion, is not brave. It is basically creepy. If you want to look at what a brave woman looks like, go watch Manikarnika. Absolutely worth it. You have both the silent, understated bravery as well as that evident, ferocious version that you see in the trailer. Now, coming to the parts that I'm going to complain about, I'm going to break it into a few parts. The first is the most evident one, clothes and hair. Now, I know that this is kind of frivolous and most people attack movies on the fact that the clothes and the hair were not period appropriate, but that is not my problem with the movie. What I know is that when you show that a woman is brave and strong-willed and courageous, and in the same frame you show her wearing a sari with a 3-meter long pallu, it's just jarring to the eye. I was surprised that Anupama Chopra had a problem with the fact that the queen was wearing pearls in the battlefield, but she conveniently glossed over the 3-meter pallu that refused to cover her chest. I'm not being a prude here. I mean, come on, घर पे झाड़ू लगाते हुए भी हम पल्लू को अच्छे से टक इन कर लेते ताकि हमें काम करते हुए मुश्किल ही ना हो. और यहाँ पे मैडम घोड़े पे बैठकर शिकार करने जा रही हैं और ना सिर्फ पल्लू इतना लंबा है पर वो इस तरीके से पहना गया है, इस तरीके से स्टाइल किया गया है कि she has to go at a particular pace, otherwise वो जो पल्लू है पीछे से it will start supporting the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Anyway, my second problem in this aspect of the movie was hair. Now for a man it takes about 6 to 8 months to grow your hair up till here, but this gentleman, the person playing the King of Jhansi, decided not to do that, and he's wearing a terrible wig. Or else he has the worst case of bad hair day throughout the movie. Now all those who watched the movie, please comment down below and tell me if you also noticed this or I'm being nitpicky. I was only at peace every time Rajaji was wearing the headgear because at least I did not have to see his terrible hair. On the same note, I was happy once Manu got married because now she started wearing sensible clothes. By that I mean something that was not trailing behind her. Moving on to the second thing that bothered me in this movie, plot points. Almost everyone in India knows the basic story of Jhansi Ki Rani, so I don't have to go over it again. But the movie takes the entire first half to get to the point of the 1857 revolt. Now, if you're doing that, at least give me something to look forward to. They made so many points which were interesting and then they just lost. I'll tell you what it is. There's a Robin Hood type of character in this movie who refuses to accept the queen as a monarch until she joins the revolution against the British. But it takes about half a dialogue to change his radical thoughts in the end. There is a scene where the main antagonist and a lady carrying some glass of milk or something have this aankhon hi aankhon mein ishara kind of thing. And right after that, we see that the heir to the throne is dead and the king is coughing up blood. And we have no idea till the end of the movie what happened. Was the king poisoned? Was the child poisoned? Which would have been strange because the child is really small, so it could not have been poisoned unless you poisoned the mother's milk somehow. There is no revelation as to why these two things happened all of a sudden. I mean, I understand that child mortality was high in those days, but यार ये राजकुमार है, किसी को भी ये इच्छा नहीं हुई कि जरा तहकीकात करे कि सडनली हुआ क्या. I think this lack of connection is where we see that disconnect between the two different directors. Their visions don't match. The third problem that I had with the movie was one that made me groan in frustration in the theater and got me a stern look from my neighbor. The songs. I'm not saying the songs are bad. Prasoon Joshi is one of the best literary minds of our generation in the Hindi film industry, and it is evident in all the lyrics and the dialogues, only the Hindi ones, mind you. But my problem is with the placement of the songs. When your daughter tells you that she does not want to get married, singing to her that hum rahe ya na rahe, Bharat ye rehna chahiye, is just weird, isn't it? You're basically telling her that marriage is martyrdom. Really? That's how you're selling it? That is not to say that the song is bad. It comes back later in the movie and I absolutely appreciated it there. In fact, there is one more song that I love. It's called Vijayi Bhava. This song shows the training montage of the army as it prepares for the war against the British. And it is beautiful to look at. The lyrics also fill you with this patriotic fervor and it works really well. But the one song that is absolutely unforgivable in this movie is called Dankila Tataya. A song on the lines of Chad Gaye Papi Bichua. Not as catchy though. Now here we see this innocent villager played by Ankita Lokhande who suddenly sheds her pallu and starts dancing on the streets. And the villagers join her in perfectly choreographed steps. The moment this happened, I literally joined my hands and begged, oh my God, let them not make her dance. And they did. Now the Queen of Jhansi is on the streets dancing provocatively with random villagers. What is this obsession of the Hindi film industry with making queens dance? I just don't get it. The last bone I have to pick with this film is in its climax scenes. Now, right before the final war, the British officer called Hugh Rose wakes up in a sweat because he sees Rani Lakshmibai as Kali in his dreams. I'm not even kidding. He sees her as Kali. Not a witch, not a monster, not even Satan or Lucifer, but Kali. And it has been stated just a few scenes ago that he has just landed in India. So we can't even excuse it by saying that, oh, he has assimilated to the Indian culture that much that it has been ingrained in his mind or anything of that sort. I'm not saying I have a problem with comparing the Queen to Kali because before this, she's shown slaying one British officer after another, and there's Aigiri Nandini playing in the background, and she's shown in the backdrop of this big huge Kali statue. It's much more subtle and it makes sense for there to be a Kali statue in the palace. But a British officer dreaming of her in the Kali Swaroop, it's nuts. On the same note, the movie ends with the Queen's death, but they wanted to make it special. So what did they do? They showed her walk into a ring of flames, spreading her arms like Shah Rukh Khan and smiling. Hero seems mighty impressed with this fact. Wouldn't it make more sense for her to be going on fighting in spite of all that fire engulfing her? Worst thing, the camera zooms out and you see that the flames are forming an Om around her. What was the purpose of doing this? I have no idea. इंडिया का मैप भी दिखाया होता तो it would have made sense कि the sacrifice of all these martyrs went into the making of the unified India that we see today. But no, they had to make a reference to the vague Har Har Mahadev chant, I guess. Now, a lot of you might be wondering why I have not touched upon the CGI, because most of the reviews that I have watched seem to be harping upon this drawback of the movie. I agree that this is really jarring and it does take away from the experience of watching the movie, because, I mean, there is one scene where you can see the color difference between the real and the CGI soldiers. But that, I feel, is not a reason for me to be angry. In fact, I felt a lot of sympathy. यार बड़ी गरीबी में मूवी बनाई है और इसलिए कह रही हूँ, if you still haven't watched the movie, please go and watch it. I think it is worth a watch. This is the story of a lady who in the 19th century not just decided to not live as a widow, but claimed her right as a monarch. And instead of giving up silently, she went down fighting. She may not have won, but she most definitely did not give up meekly. The same spirit was reflected when Kangana refused to bow down to the cheap stunts of the Karni Sena, and we need to stand by this brave girl. Here is hoping that the next attempt to impress us is less irksome. If you feel you have been entertained even a little bit with this video, please share this with your friends and family.